Thanks for listening to the Woodward Podcast Network. Check out more shows by searching for us on Spreaker or wherever you catch your podcasts. The Woodward Podcast Network with Krupka Dental Associates.
Hello, this is Dr. John Krupka from Krupka Dental. We now have the Soleil laser. You can have your fillings done without needles nor drills. We are a full-service dental office and always accepting new patients. To learn more about me and my friendly team, visit krupkadental.com.
Attention, please.
And now, it's Cutter's Rockcast.
John Cooper from Skillet is joining us. Man, it is so good to talk to you. It has been quite some time. We got a new Skillet song. There's lots going on in the Skillet world. So congratulations, first of all, on that. There is one thing, though, before you say anything else. And in watching the video for Surviving the Game, now, you guys have always done some pretty amazing videos in the past, don't get me wrong. I don't mind the idea that a kid is running the world. I don't.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, wasn't it? With like a kid doing it.
I don't mind the idea. Adults screw it up. Why not?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, exactly. Why not try that? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
sure.
It's very like Children of Dune, which
right.
Only the science fiction nerds will know what we're talking about. But there you go.
Well, okay, so if you're going to go watch Dune at some point, then go further into the lore and you can find some things. Although the new movie, I'm a little leery on, to be honest, but that's all right. We just put on the nerd glasses right now, John.
I didn't know that you had those nerd glasses available, but it really made me happy. No one else will like this interview, but me and you and two other people out there. But
that's right.
What are you going to do?
I possibly was forced to watch Dune as a young child, living in Northeast Wisconsin, and my brother would make me watch that stuff. But that's all right.
I love Dune, man. I love it. I'm excited about the new film, but I know that they're never going to be able to they're never going to be able to hold up to the book. It's just not possible. You need to do 3 films for the one book.
Right.
So I don't know.
So kind of opposite of what Peter Jackson did for The Hobbit, where you did 3 films for one book that really was weird.
Didn't need it.
And in this, you're doing 1 film for 3 books, basically. But because it has those. Yeah. Anyway, you did a comic book yourself, and you guys did a graphic novel as well. This is not uncharted territory for you and for Skillet. Obviously, you being a little bit of a nerd as well and getting into some of that stuff so much. What was it like for you as a fan to be able to say, oh my God, I have a graphic novel?
Right. It was really cool. I love comics, as you said. I always kind of imagined that we would do a graphic novel at some point. But that's only because, to me, there are certain things that always naturally went together. Not everybody agrees, by the way, but it's probably because it's the first time I got introduced to rock and roll when I was a kid with Kiss. In the 70s, they had Kiss dolls, the big ones. They were like 12 inches tall. They're like a foot. And Kiss had like comics, and so it was like it was a rock band, but they were characters, and there was like stories, and Alice Cooper was like that too, right? So there were certain things about that were always intriguing to me, and I liked the cult following of science fiction films and comics and rock and roll bands. When you find a rock and roll band that was not big, but they were awesome, and that was like your band, you know what I mean? And that was always a cool feeling. So doing the comic was quite fun, and I got to write the story, which was cool because I co-wrote the story, but the original idea was mine. And it was just another outlet to try to use those, creative juices. And it was fun. And I really enjoyed it.
You must have creative juices for days, because to be able to do that, and now, Skillet, obviously you guys just announced your 11th studio album. So between the music, between the writing of the graphic novel, and I know you do other things as well, you seem to have ideas kind of constantly floating out of your head.
I do. Yeah. You know, my wife makes fun of me a little bit. She's just like,
as good partners do.
That's right. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
You know, but she's like, you've always got so many ideas. Like, you never stop working. I am incredibly productive. I enjoy being productive, and I do always have a lot of random ideas. They're not always good, but I always have a lot of stuff going on in my brain. So, you know, I think that the comic book was a natural thing. And then, you know, getting to write a new record is always an exciting time for me, because I always feel that I have something to say, or something that I, you know, have experienced, that I feel that I want to write a song about. And as it turned out, like with the new album, as it turned out, I had a lot of feelings about the pandemic and the way that we live life now, what it is doing to us. I had more feelings than I thought that I did. And they were just coming out of me so quickly. We wrote this record so fast, and I'm excited about the project. So there you go.
The album is called Dominion. It's going to be out on January 14th. Without going too far down the rabbit hole, you said you know, obviously inspired by what's been going on over the course of the last, a year and a half to 2 years, as I think most of us were, any kind of creative brain anyway, as far as writing and things like that. What did you take away from it to put into music? And again, I don't want to draw any lines in the sand or anything like that, if you catch what I'm saying, but you know, where did you kind of take it and go, okay, I need to apply this and I need to get it out here?
Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. I think for me, you know, what I really want to communicate, I say what I got out of it. Let me start over. Here's what I would say. The pandemic showed, I don't think it created two kinds of people. I think that it revealed two kinds of people. Number one, you're going to have people who got depressed. Mm-hmm. They felt the isolation. Now, to some level, most everyone, I would assume, felt the isolation. And it was very, depressing might not be the right word. It was very upsetting. It was very uncomfortable. It was saddening for a lot of people. You didn't get to see your family. You miss people at Christmases. Maybe you miss weddings and funerals. I mean, my gosh, I have friends who had grandparents die, but they, you know, because of COVID, they weren't allowed into hospitals to say goodbye. And, you know, I didn't get to say bye to my dad or my mom and things like that. We all felt that. And so what you have is you have some people that just gave up. And I understand why they gave up. It was a really depressing time. And a lot of them turned to things to cope that were extremely unhealthy. And I understand why they did, but they ended up in a darker place. They just sort of like gave over that spirit of fighting, you know, that spirit of not giving up. They just gave over to it. And they found themselves in a place a year later where they want to take their life back. You know, they want to get a little bit of that control back. And I know people that said, dude, I had to stop drinking completely because they were like, I drunk more over the last year of my life than all the other years combined, and it's killing me. And people gain 20, 30 pounds and the unhealthiness of so many different things. But the pandemic also revealed a different kind of person, which were people that said, all right, I feel that isolation. I feel that saddening thing, but I'm absolutely not going to give into that. In fact, I'm going to fight even harder for the things that I love, for the people that I love, for who I want to be. That is what this record is about. It's about the latter. It's about surviving. It's about saying, yes, this has been a really hard time. I don't personally care what you believe. I don't necessarily care what you want to get out of your life, but what I hope to encourage you in is to not give up on those things, to not give up on who you want to be. And I'm not telling you who that needs to be. So I hope that it's a real encouragement to people. Maybe it could give somebody that fight, you know, it can encourage them to grab that fire back and say, I'm taking control of my life. That's what Dominion is about. Dominion, the title, is about saying, hey, this is me. Literally, this is me. This is my life. This is my brain. This is my heart. This is my body. There are things about my life that I should have some sort of say over. And I want to believe what I want to believe without somebody telling me that I cannot. And that's also a very American ideal as well. You know, we don't put people to death here in America for the things they believe, right? And, you know, as we're finding out now, and that this is not a politically partisan thing, but as we're finding out now, there are other places in the world, as we're seeing now as the Taliban takes back over control of Afghanistan, there are places in the world where you do get put to death, depending on what you believe. We see, not to get too into politics, but this isn't politics. This is actually like geopolitical vision, really. There are places in the world that they say girls should not be able to go to school and learn. And if you send your girls to that school, as we've seen, it might get blown up. There are people in the world that are very hateful and have a lot of anger. We don't do that in America. This is a wonderful country where you can believe whatever you want to believe. So all of those things, I know that's a whole lot of information, but it all goes into this idea of dominion. And I believe in standing up for people's right to believe what they want to about politics, religion, your kids, whatever it is. I will fight for that right for people to believe, be who they want to be. I think that's very important.
Well, I got to be honest, John, it's nice to hear the positivity spin on that instead of because it feels like, you know, obviously we've seen it, and I think social media has obviously escalated it a little bit because it's easier, and not because social media exists. It's not Facebook's fault, it's people's fault. But you don't believe what I believe, you're wrong, and I don't care what you say. Instead of, okay, cool, you believe that. Like, John, obviously, you're very outspoken about your Christianity and your faith. I've been outspoken about my issues with the Catholic Church, as an example. But that goes back to, that's personal in whatever. But I'm not going to sit there and be like, no, you can't, and here's why. And you're not going to look at me and go, no, you can't, and here's why. It's, okay, we have that freedom to be able to go, here's information, now use that information as you see. And that's what I think is key. Yeah. And that's awesome. And that's why it's refreshing to hear you say it that way.
Oh, that's great. No, I agree with that. I think changing hearts and minds is really important. You know, I had a friend it's been 10 years now. I was about to say a few years ago. That's when you know you're getting old. No, it's been a decade, brother.
That's the Midwest thing, you know, the other day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just down the road.
A decade ago. Yeah. But, you know, when I was recording my Awake album, one of the engineers was a vegan. Mm-hmm. And, but he would talk about veganism in a way that I found, frankly, not annoying. Because I've known a lot of really annoying vegans, to be honest.
We all have.
Yeah. And he would just live his life, and I would ask him questions. And I got to say, he changed my mind about some things. I never ever thought it would change my mind about, I'm not vegan, by the way, but it changed my mind about how we treat animals, the things that we can be doing better in terms of, you know, meat factories. This is not something I literally ever talk about on an interview. But I thought that was a good example because he is someone that changed my mind, not by telling me I was evil for eating the meat, but because he showed me some of the health benefits and some of the cruelty that I just was unaware of, to be honest. And so I do eat meat. I have no problem with eating meat morally or anything, but that's a pretty good example of something I never thought that I would care about. And he changed my mind. So I do think it's a real, we're all kind of saying what we think. And I think it's fine to say what we think. I just know that I have never called for anyone else to be canceled or to end their jobs or their careers based on it. I mean, most of the people that work for me are actually atheists. There's very few Christians that work for Skillet besides the band members. And the rest are atheists or agnostic and don't believe what I believe about most anything. And they're some of my closest friends. We have a meal together and our kids grew up together. And I think that that's a great thing to promote love, to promote conversations,
absolutely,
and to promote Americanism is a wonderful thing. And in my view, part of Americanism is this free exchange of ideas. And I hope that I can win you over, your heart and your mind, with my ideas, but not with my fist.
Well, before and I want to get into the actual music here, before our time runs out. But Katie, who used to co-host this podcast with me, and still works locally for the radio station, we always used to end these, especially the host episodes of the podcast, and not with an interview, but we would always say the fact: just be a good human. At the end of the day, just be a good human. That's it. If you're a good human, then we're cool. And if you're not, then we're not. And that's it. It's really that simple, I think. But.
Right. I know exactly what you mean. I think probably on a philosophical, I love that, by the way. And I think where I've come to in the last years, realizing philosophically that we are in such a subjective state right now, that what we're coming to, that I think a lot of people are just beginning to get with grips with, is just that your definition of what being a good human might be different than, Johnny Q or Joe or whoever. It's all of a sudden it's the definition of what that means. And I think that's why we're seeing so much of this rift happening, in America. And that's why I said on an interview recently, because somebody was asking me my opinions on, I don't remember what it was. It was something to do with probably with mask wearing or something, because it's something that I said. I said, hey, I meet fans. I'm not personally afraid of COVID. COVID went through my family. If a fan wants to meet me on the street, just today I was walking on the street and somebody said, are you John from Skillet? They're like, I'm sorry, can I shake your hand? I was like, of course you can shake my hand. And then he's like, can I give you a hug? I was like, sure, you can give me a hug. But, if they want me to wear a mask for a photo, I'll wear a mask for a photo. I'm just very kind of like, I know what I believe, but if I'm not going to demean you about it. And if that's what you want, that's what you want. Personal choice is very important to me, So anyway, that's a long story, but yes, being a good human being is a good way to say it.
It's like I said, it's refreshing. All right, real quick, the record, Dominion, again, it's going to be out on January 14th. You guys worked with the Churkos on this one, and this name comes up a lot on this podcast because obviously so many people have been working with Kane and Kevin Churko over the years in Las Vegas. They have a special thing about them, and I'm not sure what it is, but working with them on this album and then also doing it remotely, because I know you guys were at your home studio and they were at their place in Vegas, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird, man. It's so weird. So first of all, yes, the album comes out January 14th. I am so excited. I think it's one of the best records we've made.
Awesome.
I'm a huge fan of the Churkos. Kevin Churko has been my favorite producer for a number of years. I'm a humongous Five Finger Death Punch fan. A lot of people are surprised to find that out because they say the F word. Every other word is the F word. And
Ivan? No way.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, but I'm just a huge fan. I go to the gym. It's Metallica, AC/DC, and of course, lots of other metal bands. But typically, it's classic stuff. And Five Finger made it into my playlist about 8 years ago, and I just love Five Finger. And so I got to know Kevin Churko through my friend Jacoby from Papa Roach. I was hanging out with Jacoby, who's a pretty good friend of mine, and I'm a big Papa Roach fan. And at the time, he was playing me his new record. This is about, 6 years ago. And he's like, hey, yeah, Kevin Churko. And I said, Kevin Churko produced this? You mean the Five Finger guy? He's like, yeah. And I was like, do you think he would mind if you gave me his phone number? So it's a really funny guy. It's just this funny, like, can I call him out of the blue?
Right.
Anyway, I ended up calling Kevin Churko, and he actually knew who I was, which I honestly was surprised he knew who I was, but he knew some of our songs, and we just hit it off. And so Kevin is an awesome guy, and I got to know his son, Kane. Kane is an awesome songwriter, and of course he's a producer in his own right as well. But I just really clicked with Kane as well with his songwriting. And so they've done a couple of songs on our previous records. This is the first record that we did the entire record with the Churkos. It was so fun, man. But you know what, as you said, it's the only record we've ever recorded where we were not in the same room as the producers. We did not meet one time on this album because we were supposed to meet back last November to begin writing. And we had a session available in Vegas, is where they live.
Right.
We had the flights booked and the whole thing. And 3 days before, I was actually out on the road, but my daughter got COVID.
Oh man.
And she wasn't with me. But I was like, yeah, but I was with her like 3 days ago. And what if I do have it? And then I'm getting on a plane and I'm going to see these guys. And I called them. I said, guys, I don't think I have COVID, but my daughter does. And let's play it safe. I would feel terrible if I gave you guys COVID. So we canceled it. But instead, we decided to do a Zoom right instead.
Okay.
Which I was not happy about. They were not happy about, but we had to do it. And it went so good that then I was like, maybe we shouldn't fly out. Maybe we should never. It's like the the football team that wins and they never watch their jock strap again or something like that.
Right.
It was like that. A, I don't wear jock straps, and B, I wash all my underwear. Just
it's good to know.
It out.
It's good to know
for whoever people need to know this. But anyway, it went so good. I think part of the reason it went good, to tell you the truth, was that they would work on things on their end and they would send them, via Dropbox to us. We would open it up in our studio. And then I'd have a week to live with it. And I'd be like, I don't think I like that part. I'll change it. We'd re-record stuff, send to them, and then they'd send it. All of a sudden, I guess what I'm trying to say is we had more time and you had more, you don't mind. One of my producer friends says, you dare to suck. You dare to do something that just might suck because it might actually be awesome. And sometimes it's that taking a risk moment that actually makes something really good. And so I was like, well, we're not in the same room. And so I don't have to tell somebody. Sometimes it's really hard when we did this on Skillet song Monster.
Okay.
It's got that monster voice in the bridge. It's like, feel like a monster.
Right.
But imagine being in a room when you have the idea and saying, what would be really, really cool? We should have a monster voice. It's like Spinal Tap says, it's like, there's a fine line between clever and stupid, and you never know what that line's going to be. And the monster voice could have been stupid, but it ended up working and people loved the monster voice. So all that to say, Surviving the Game was one of the songs that came out like that. I never told the Churkos I wanted to do, the introduction of the song has this like talking part. Mm-hmm. It's like, to be more than a conqueror, it's like,
what's really funny about that part? Cause I first heard that song and I didn't realize what it was at first. And I literally thought to myself, is that Five Finger?
Yeah, you know what?
And then the song kicked in. I'm like, nope, that's Skillet. I hear it now. But
you know what? It reminds me of that too. But they had that song, and it's like, in the end, all we are is a chalk outline.
Right. Yeah.
Because Ivan's got that amazing voice. It kind of reminded me of something they would do, or even, I don't know, man, like old something older metal, maybe even like older Queensryche or something like that.
Where that style was very popular was old rebel country. That kind of deep, gravelly talking voice into that storytelling type thing into a song. Yeah. So it's interesting that that's kind of made its way into some of the more metal stuff. Phil Anselmo from Pantera used to do it too. Every once in a while, you'd hear that on a song. It's Phil going into his low, I just smoked a pack of cigarettes voice,
That's right. You get a little of the Johnny Cash in there. It's something that maybe you're not expecting. And I don't know if I would have suggested it if we were in the room together, because I just would be too embarrassed. Like, I can't do that. But I'm in my own studio and I dare to suck and no one else is around. And I can do whatever I want to do. And if it sucks, I don't even have to send it to the Churkos. But I was like, that's kind of pretty cool. Let's see what they think. And so in the end, I think that it made it's a very exciting record, and it's very modern, but it's heavier. I mean, it's a meaner album, and it's probably by far our most like anti-establishment record. It has like I'm tired of you telling me what to do. I'm tired of you ruling my life. I should have some autonomy over my life. And to me, that's like very rock and roll.
Yeah, it's a little punk rock attitude. That's no doubt.
It is punk rock.
Well, again, man, it's good to talk to you. What are you guys doing for touring now? Because I
We
don't
are
have that. I
touring
don't
right
have
now.
that in front of me, so I apologize.
Oh, not at all. We're actually on tour right now. I am in San Antonio, Texas, as we speak, and it is so beautiful. It's like 80 degrees. It's amazing down here. I love Texas anyway. And we're touring for about another 4 weeks. We're going out west. We're actually going to hit Vegas, so I'm going to see the Churcos now that our record is done. And you can watch the jockstrap now. Anyway, so we're going to see the Churcos and supporting the record. I can't wait for fans to hear more of the album because it's pretty different for Skillet. So I'm kind of very excited about it. That's what's up, and the record releases in January.
I don't want to make you mad or anything, but we've talked about this before, but we only live like an hour away from each other. It's 82 right now.
No, it's not.
And sunny
in Wisconsin.
Uh huh. Sure is.
Really?
I rode my motorcycle to work today. Oh yeah, no, it's good.
Oh my gosh! I thought you were going to be like, dude, it's raining and 60.
No,
that's what I was expecting.
Nope.
Well, see, I could be in.
I don't know that I ever remember.
As we speak.
I don't know that I ever remember an October 1st in this state where it was 82. But hey, we're here.
Let's take it. Let's get some cheese curds.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that was a good thing. I don't want to say a good thing about the pandemic, but you look on the bright side, don't you? And there were some great things about it. One of the things for me was I got to be home. We live in Wisconsin, as you know, and I mean, we've been married. Let's see, Corey and I've been married for almost 25 years. Our entire marriage.
Has it really been 20?
We have.
Wow.
Dude,
okay.
In March is 25 years.
Well, congratulations.
And we've been on the road. Thank you. We've been on the road the entire time. Literally the entire time. We had our kids, went straight back to the road until last year. We've never spent this much time at home before. So I got to be, in Wisconsin. I got to see all of the spectrum of seasons, the leaves. The leaves coming back and then the leaves falling and winter. I mean, that was a good thing about it. It's a beautiful state. I'm not from Wisconsin, but I've lived here for 20 years now.
Right.
And it's a beauuful time. So I got to be around. Then I got to go to some Brewers games, which was really fun. And it's cool, man. And I also, just about 2 years ago, went to my first Packers game. Finally.
Did you really?
It was freezing cold. Yeah. Finally got to go. It was really fun.
That's awesome. Those tickets are still not easy to come by.
No, they're not.
So good on you. Good on you.
Yeah.
Well, man, travel safe. Be good. Give my love to Corey. And you're right. 25 years. I don't know why that should surprise me. I've been here for 21 years, and I remember you guys winning local music awards before. So
that was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was.
I had to go back.
Just a few days ago. Just a bit ago.
I think that was recently. 20 years ago, dude.
Well,
you're old as crap. Wake up.
I know. Well, anyway, John Cooper, like I said, give my love to the family and say hi to your folks for me.
You got it. It's great to chat with you. Thanks for doing the interview, brother.
Cutter's Rockcast.
Don't forget to tune in.
Exactly.